Zohran Mamdani's expected victory in New York City's mayoral primary has made the 33-year-old an instant star in Democratic politics. Here he is on the cover of New York Magazine, which says his historic primary upset has the city swooning, spinning, and reeling. And despite the excitement, though, some top Democrats are stopping short of endorsing him outright, including the top Democrats in the House and Senate, who also happen to be fellow New Yorkers. Zohran Mamdani is back with us. It's great to have you back on the show. We had you on 2 weeks after you announced your run. I would say back then, not a household name. Safe to say now, you're a national figure. So we greatly appreciate.
Are you giving yourself some credit there?
No, I'm saying we greatly appreciate you making time for us now that you've hit the big leagues.
No.
Let's talk about this kind of divide within the Democratic Party, right? And the slow endorsement. You've certainly been endorsed by AOC, Bernie Sanders. You've been welcomed by them. They're celebrating your victory. But the party leadership has not yet coalesced around you, if you will. I'm wondering how you plan on tackling that, just from a political standpoint, because at the end of the day, some will say you need the party. Certainly the party has to get behind you because you are now potentially the mayor of the biggest city, probably the most important city in America. And so they're going to have to, they can't ignore you, and they're going to have to find a way to work with you. So what's your strategy for closing that divide?
You know, I've been honored in the days since the primary to have received the endorsements of Congressman Nadler, of Senator Warren, of 32BJ SEIU, the Hotel Trades and Gaming Council, as well as NYSNA, the nurses union, and ultimately showing that this coalition continues to build each and every day. And the way that we move forward is the way that we got here. We earn every single endorsement. And I've appreciated the phone calls that I've had with Senator Schumer and Congressman Jeffries, articulating both the focus of our campaign on affordability and the necessity of that to be a central message in our party. And I'm excited to keep growing this coalition.
So you mentioned that the unions have come behind you. They had previously endorsed one of your opponents, Cuomo. And if you look at the results of the primary, you did very well with higher income voters and less well with the working class, with lower income voters, which doesn't sound like it should jibe with your agenda or your message in any event. To what do you attribute that to, that it has taken a while for the unions to come on board? And I guess I don't know what the latest polling is on lower income voters, but at least we know what the results were in the primary.
Well, we actually saw that we won the votes of voters who made $65,000 and above. And I would say that in New York City, that is very much a working class person's salary. And we have many more New Yorkers to win. And ultimately, we began this race, as you were saying in the beginning, at about 1% name recognition. And that's being charitable to myself. And we began it with a real uphill battle in introducing ourselves and our vision, and ultimately we won the primary. And yet I know that there's still so much more work to be done, especially when I was running against a former governor who was the son of a former governor and whose name in many ways was synonymous with politics. And yet what we show is that it's possible to move beyond just a politics of the past and the present. We can have a politics of the future. And I've been excited by the fact that on Tuesday night, we didn't just see an incredible increase in Asian turnout across New York City. We didn't just see the more than doubling of turnout amongst 18 to 24-year-olds and increases for 25 to 29 and 30 to 34. We also saw the fact that we won Latino voters across New York City. And we closed a gap with black voters that at one point had been more than 50 points to now less than 20 points. And so much of the work of going through the general election is to continue doing that work of introduction and earning the support of New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs.
I have to ask you, too, about what it's been like for you to process some of the Islamophobic responses that we've seen. I think some would say they're not as surprised by some, like, Representative Ogles saying you should be deported. But others have been a bit surprised by, for example, a New York senator going on a popular radio show and suggesting that you support global jihad. What has that been like for you? And have you had the chance to speak with Senator Gillibrand?
I spoke to Senator Gillibrand soon after the victory on Tuesday evening, and the comments that I've heard, especially from Republicans across the country, and even the comments prior during the primary, were comments that were both unsurprising and yet still quite sad, because they showcase what politics has become for so many. It's a language of darkness and a language of exclusion. And what has kept me hopeful through this is that our vision is one where every New Yorker belongs. And there are so many New Yorkers who previously hadn't voted in primaries, who saw themselves now in this politics, saw their struggles in our policies, and took that step to actually cast a ballot. And what excites me is that There are moments where someone will cast a ballot for someone with an exclusionary vision like Donald Trump, and they can still come back to the Democratic Party. And so many of our victories were in neighborhoods that went for Donald Trump in the presidential election. We're talking about College Point or Diker Heights, so many of the same places we were told that we had now lost voters forever. And instead, what we've found is that if you have a relentless focus on an economic agenda and you welcome people back and you turn the political instinct from lecturing to listening, you can still have people come home to the Democratic Party as long as you show them that's a party that will fight for working people, not those that are benefiting off the struggles of working people.
We are going to dig into some of your policies in the second part of this conversation after the break and some of the specifics of these economic policies. But I just want to kind of talk about the reaction and what this means right now for the Democratic Party, again, in a big picture way, which is you have always, this campaign was very successful in making you accessible to the media and to voters. Do you think you will still be able to do that going forward now that there is this intense spotlight, there is more pressure on you, you will be pulled in more directions, that the element of success that many say drove your campaign is going to be hard to maintain over the next several months in a general election?
It's definitely more difficult, especially in light of the kinds of threats that I'm receiving. But ultimately, I continue to believe that New Yorkers deserve a mayor that they can see, a mayor that they can speak to, a mayor they can ask questions of, even a mayor that they can yell at. And that is the mayor that I will be. And that's why people will see me across this city, because we need a city that is led by someone who understands it and who looks to represent each
So
and
no
every person.
intent to change what you did throughout the primary going forward?
No,
Still
you're-
make yourself accessible?
You're going to see me walking a lot.
Still going to talk to reporters all the time?
Come on, look where I am.
On a
Will
Sunday
you
night.
commit right now on this
Every
show?
Tuesday
Oh, these are,
Yeah, I mean,
Every
hey,
Sunday.
these are the tough questions. I actually have a slightly harder question for you than whether you're going to come hang out with us again, because
Please.
I know we are so adorable and fun to spend time with, which is that, you know, progressives have historically had a very complicated relationship with law enforcement and police. You yourself have been very critical of law enforcement. In a social media post from 2020, which has been resurfaced, you referred to the NYPD as, quote, racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. The current NYPD commissioner, Jessica Tisch, has also criticized the decision to ban NYPD LGBTQ plus members from the Pride Parade today. I think we have that up on the screen. What do you think is the right way for Democrats and progressives to talk about law enforcement, or the right relationship that they should have with law enforcement today?
You know, I've shown over the course of this campaign a clear recognition of the fact that police are critical to creating public safety across this city. And my proposal for the Department of Community Safety is one that was born out of my conversations with rank and file officers who have told me time and again their frustration with signing up to join the police force to tackle serious crimes and then being asked to play the roles of mental health professionals and social workers and fielding 200,000 mental health calls a year. And ultimately, my desire is for the police to be able to focus on those serious crimes, to be able to do their jobs by stopping asking them to respond to nearly every failure of the social safety net. And that's why we have put forward this proposal to create a department that will tackle mental health crises, homelessness, victim services, hate crimes, gun violence, so that police can go back to those 7 major categories of crime we see in CompStat. Because ultimately, New Yorkers deserve to be safe. They deserve a police force that is able to focus on keeping them safe. And what we've seen is that in 2025, in the first quarter, 65% of crimes that were reported are yet to be solved. We need to make it easier for police to focus on solving those crimes. And I've been very clear, we're not defunding the police. We're sustaining the headcount of the police department and allowing them to do their actual job.